Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my floor. It's an impossibly rainy, gloomy, dark and depressing Saturday morning in Norwich. It's been raining biblically now for probably about 24 hours, and I've actually got the lights on to make this video because it is so dark. And what am I doing on my floor? Well, I'm about to do another unboxing video. Yes, I've been burning up the keyboard buying film noir related materials all week, and I now have, I'm glad to say, this half a dozen packages in order to open for you today and see what we've got. I know what's in a couple of them this time because they're Amazon orders, so I'll do those first, but the others I have no idea. Well, I've ordered so much stuff, I just don't know. So let's begin. Let's find out what's in these packages. So let's get the old scissors out and get to work. Now you'll probably notice I've actually put sticky labels over all the addresses this time. If you've watched my previous unboxing video, you'll have seen that a couple of parts of it were blurred. One part particularly where I actually turned an envelope over so to hide my address, but the sender's address was on the back. So I had to blur out about a minute of that, and rather than do all that again, I've actually put labels on. Funnily enough, it wasn't until I watched it back that I realised I'd done that, and even stranger, that the guy whose address I'd exposed actually just lives about a mile away from me. Although I just bought, it was an item I bought on eBay and I had no idea where the guy lived. But yeah, he could have just popped around and put it through my letterbox himself rather than post it. Anyway, let's do enough of that. Let's do the Amazon ones first, because as I say, I know what's in these. Here we go. So this is the first one of the half dozen that I've got this week, and I know what this is. And yes, it's Mildred Pierce, the 1945 Joan Crawford classic based on the James M. Cain novel, which is superb if you ever get a chance to read it. Of course, this was remade fairly recently as I think it was an HBO miniseries with Kate Winslet, but it was kind of okay and more faithful to the novel actually, if I recall correctly, but I still prefer the old movie. I seriously do. So what I want to know, of course, is what extras and special features are on this Blu-ray. Well, we've got the new 4K digital restoration, of course. You kind of expect that now. A conversation with a couple of critics. Excerpt from a 1970 episode of the David Frost Show, with Joan Crawford, obviously. A feature-length documentary about Crawford made in 2012. A Q&A with Anne Blythe, who's in the movie, of course. And a segment from a 1969 episode of The Today Show featuring Mildred Pierce novelist James M. Cain. Well, there you go. So, it doesn't mention a commentary, which is kind of unusual. I suspect there's one on there somewhere, there normally is. But no, it doesn't mention one. Oh well, we'll see. But yeah, what a great movie it is. And I'm really pleased to get hold of this. Obviously it's for my Noir Confidential thread, but it's just a great movie. And if you've never read the book, if you're not familiar with James M. Cain as a novelist, he also wrote The Postman Always Rings Twice, Double Indemnity as well, and they're terrific novels. He tailed off a lot in terms of quality as time went by, but he started like an absolute rocket, quite frankly. He wrote another one called Serenade, which is brilliant, which was made into a movie with the singer Mario Lanza, and completely gutted everything that made the novel interesting, different and really powerful. Yeah, that movie is pretty bad. You won't be seeing that movie on an unboxing anytime soon, I tell you. Oh, so that's the first one. I'm really pleased to get hold of that, obviously. So that's the first one. I know what's in this packet, as I say, because it's the other Amazon order. And oh, is that the wrong end? Probably. Oh well. Let's get on with it. Let's see what we've got there. More noir goodies, of course. And yes, here we go. The first one is Rita Hayworth in Gilda, another Blu-ray classic. And probably her best role although I am a bit of a Hayworth fan and I've seen quite a few of her movies. One thing not many people know about Rita Hayworth is the fact that she toiled away in B pictures for half her career, if you think of her career in terms of her credits. Because basically she made about 60 movies, and roughly 30 of them. At that point she made a film called Only Angels Have Wings for Howard Hawks in a supporting role, but it was kind of the start of the big time for her. But that was halfway through her career. So she'd made almost 30 movies in a fairly low budget type arena. And the crazy thing was, that was only from what, 1934, I think, 35 to about 38. So she made so many films in those few years. And of course after that, after she was successful, she went on to have a career that lasted another 30 odd years, but obviously didn't make hardly any movies nearly so often. Right, let's get this one unsealed. More packaging to get rid of. And there we go. And I didn't open up Mildred Pierce, did I? I should do that. Oh, what's this? Is this a poster? I think it is. Whoa, information sheet. Wow, well that's a different way of presenting a little booklet, I suppose. Because on the back, yes, we got a poster of the lovely Rita. What could be better than that? Yeah, so be reading that, obviously, while I watch the movie. Well, not at the same time, but, you know, around the same time. Yeah, let's see what we've got here on the Special Ray features then. Oh, of course, we've got the digital restoration with the uncompressed soundtrack, as per usual. Audio commentary by film historian Richard Schickel. I think I've got one of his books. I certainly know the name. A new interview with film noir historian Eddie Muller, who I think was based also in the Mildred Pierce extras. His name's featured. Let's see what else. But Buzz Luhrmann and Martin Scorsese discussed their appreciation for the film. A 1964 episode of the television show Hollywood and the Stars, presumably featuring Rita Hayworth, I would imagine. Oh yes, it is. And yeah, that's about it. But it's not a stellar lineup, but still pretty strong, I think. Yeah, so that's Gilda. That's the second. Let's just go back for a second and open up Mildred Pierce, because I didn't actually do that, did I? So yeah, it looks like we've got a little book, or is it another foldy? No, it's another foldy thing. There you go, 2 in a row. Little essay about the film there. And what we got on the back, a nice bit of artwork. Another quality production. I think one of the things I'm really noticing with the Blu-ray releases of these old classics, they just really do seem to have made a great deal of effort to actually give you extra and to discuss the films and put them in their context and give you more as an audience, much more than they used to do with DVD. I think you did used to get extras with DVDs, obviously, but they never seemed to be quite this quality, never so comprehensive. Well, anyway, time to delve into the package now again, for there's one more in here, you see. And yes, this is Sam Fuller's Pickup on South Street with Richard Widmark, another noir classic written and directed by the amazing Samuel Fuller, whose autobiography I read very recently, The Third Face, which I would really recommend. It's really interesting, not just for fans of his film work, or fans of film in general, but just as a cracking autobiography, quite honestly. He had certainly a very remarkable life, Fuller. Very interesting. He was a crime reporter on a New York paper by the age of 18. He blagged his way into that job, basically, after having started as a copy boy probably before he should have still been at school, I think, when he started as a copy boy. But it's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be a journalist. That was his initial ambitions. And then after World War II came along, he enlisted. But instead of being able to get a war correspondent position or a soft position, he actually insisted on going to the front as a normal soldier. And basically if you read the book, you can. He was on the beaches, basically, when the British and Allied forces invaded France. He was there. I think, was he on Omaha Beach? I can't recall, but one of them. And it's a pretty amazing story, his life. He certainly brought a lot to the table as a filmmaker. I'm not sure I would say he was one of my absolute favourite directors, because I think there's only 3 or 4 movies that he did that I think are really, really outstanding. And inevitably, I guess, there's a few too many war movies for me. I'm not a great fan of war movies particularly. They're a little, I find them a little one-dimensional, most of them. His are better than most, but I'm still a huge fan of Pick Up on South Street. Richard Widmark's the main star. He's terrific in it. He hadn't been around for too long when he did this, 5 6 years I think. Oh, and we've got the double. I think that's the DVD, isn't it? Yeah, that's the DVD, and that's the Blu-ray. And what have we got? A little booklet here. Let's have a quick look at this, if I can get it out. Oh, I love the artwork there. That's really smart. And here's the booklet. It's a great thriller because I think it's very modern, because it's made in the 1950s and there's a spy element to it, and you might expect it would be some kind of flag waver to some extent, but it's not. Widmark is certainly not a patriotic character. He's a small-time criminal who becomes involved in, I think it's some stolen microfilm? I can't recall, honestly. It's been a little while since I've seen it, but I was hugely impressed when I did. And yes, so one of the things about it is his attitude is so unpatriotic throughout, and it actually got him in a little bit of bother with the powers that be, because they didn't like the hero being so cynical and basically just not a hero. And it got him in a little bit of bother, but he insisted, and the film went out as he wanted it, and it's just a great movie. And there's actually a little picture of the book I was talking about, A Third Face, Fuller's autobiography, which I would thoroughly recommend you read. Right, so that's the first 3 items. I've been chuntering on about them for quite a while, actually, haven't I? How unlike me. Right, let's go on and open the packets where I don't know what's in them. That's more exciting, isn't it? It's like Christmas. So this is obviously a book. I got this off eBay, as you might notice. My present opening skills are so good. There we go. So what's this then? Oh, I know what this is. This is an old paperback, old second-hand paperback. I think it might even be dated from the 1960s, because it was the only reasonably priced copy I could find of this. So I don't think it's in pristine condition by any means. Here, if I can get the damn thing. Let's cut it a bit more. It's hard to do this while I'm trying to keep the item in shot. I think that's what it is. I've just always got in mind that I've got to keep the items where you can see it. So here it is. Yep. Right. Daniel Fuchs, Low Company is the book. As I say, I didn't expect it would be in great condition, and as you can probably see, it certainly isn't in great condition. It is a little bit worn. There's an old 26, is that 26 cents? No, I'm not sure what that little label is, but it was originally 75 cents. Yes, it's a little bit worn, but I did expect that. You know, I went into it with my eyes open. All the pages are here, they're not falling out. That's the main thing, so I will be able to read it. Yeah. What is it? Why have I got it? What's it got to do with noir? Well, Low Company is the book that the movie The Gangster from 1947 was based on. That's one of the fairly unknown movies I'll be doing in Noir Confidential. It stars the wonderful Barry Sullivan. Also, I think the female star is Belita, who was actually an ice skater by trade. There was a funny thing in Hollywood in the 30s and 40s where they seemed to want to actually turn female ice skaters into movie stars. Sonja Hengi was the most famous one. I think she was Norwegian. But Belita was another one. And I get confused because there are others, and I could mention some things, and it'll turn out that actually it will be about somebody else, because there were 3 or 4 of them, and I tend to get them stories about them muddled up. So I won't actually talk about her at all until I get to review the movie, because obviously then I'll be more sure of my ground. Because one of them married Tyrone Power, I think, but I'm not sure if that was her or not. Anyway, whatever. The movie is very good, but I haven't seen it for a number of years, but it is one that stuck with me and I want to include in Noir Confidential. It's very low budget, it's very unknown. I can't even remember offhand who directed it, but it wasn't... Oh, it was somebody he'd only directed about half a dozen movies and died only a couple of years later, so he never really became anybody. I think he was a production designer by trade. Anyway, it was very low budget and not very well known, but I do like it a lot. So I'll be looking forward to re-watching that and reviewing it for the thread. The author Daniel Fuchs, I don't know anything about him apart from the fact that this is a book that apparently belongs in a loose trilogy of books called the Williamsburg Trilogy. I think it's because they're all set in the same place. But there you go. This copy is from 1961. No, 65. Sorry, the book. The book was renewed copyright in 61, and then this edition was in 1965 June. So at that point, I would have been probably a few weeks old. Oh, I've given away my age. How about that? But yeah. So what does it say on the back? It was the third and last of his 3 novels. So he only actually wrote 3. So that's the Williamsburg Trilogy, I guess. Yeah. Okay. And these are a couple of comments. There's no blurb on the back about what the story is, but it's a couple of comments from a couple of critics, I guess, basically saying how good they are. But I'll confess, until I looked at the credits of the movie, I'd never heard of Daniel Fuchs. But there you go. So I'm looking forward to reading that and see what I make of it. Right, let's move on now to the next item. And that's another Blu-ray. This is from the World of Books. They sell Blu-rays as well, obviously. Very, very good second-hand. Very good second-hand store. If you get a chance to buy anything of theirs on eBay or through Amazon, I think they're on Amazon sellers as well. They're very good. The items always arrive quickly. They're always what they say they are. In terms of condition and quality. So I use them quite a lot, to be honest, and they're reasonably priced usually, which is the most important thing if you're on a budget like I am. So what have we got here? Oh, I can see what this is. Hang on. It's another classic, and it's Hitchcock's Rear Window. Now, this is one of those movies that I was surprised to see in a list of film noirs, but it's in most lists of them, and so it's in colour for a start, which obviously isn't typically noir. I guess there are certain elements to it that will put it in the noir arena, but it's not one that I would have categorised in that way myself. But then, as I've mentioned already in my Noir Confidential introduction, I found that my definition of noir seemed a bit narrow compared to a lot of people's. But anyway, it's still a classic movie though, noir or not, whatever you want to say about it, it's a classic, so there's no worries there. And I've seen it several times, but so it's good to get it on Blu-ray at last. Looking at the extras, we've got a original documentary, conversation with screenwriter John Michael Keyes. We've got a feature commentary, of course, or with a film historian, production photographs, trailer, Hitchcock Truffaut interview excerpt. That might be interesting. I was a bit surprised when I actually compiled my list of 87 movies to cover in Noir Confidential how many Hitchcock movies there were. Possibly, as I say, I don't tend to think of them as noir, or I didn't. But there are 4 or 5, I think. Not obviously not everything he did or anything of that nature, but yeah, there are a few, and more possibly than any other director, which surprised me a little bit because I don't think of myself as a Hitchcock fan particularly. But I do think he made quality films. I mean, there's no doubt about that, is there? But I'm not sort of, and I have seen, I've seen everything apart from some of the, I think some of the very early ones are lost, aren't they? And I haven't seen those, obviously. And I think maybe, is there anything, I think I might have seen everything else. I couldn't be entirely sure without looking it up. But I've certainly seen everything that he did post The Man Who Knew Too Much in 1934. But yeah, I might be missing a couple of the early ones, I don't know. Anyway, that's Rear Window. Pleased to get hold of that. That was very reasonably priced indeed, as I say, from World of Books. So great, yeah, nice to get that one. So 2 packages to go. What's in these? This feels like a book as opposed to a Blu-ray. So it's about time we had another book, really, I suppose. Let's have a look. I've ordered so many things, as I said before, that it is difficult for me to remember exactly what I've ordered now. Which is pretty silly, I know, but it's great fun. Here we go. Little envelope. So there's the invoice. I shall keep that out of sight in case I reveal an address. Oh, it is a Blu-ray, look. Oh, it's that one. Okay, I should have known it would be another Blu-ray, really, shouldn't I? Well, this is well sealed, isn't it? We might have to take a bit of a break while I try and get into this now. Okay, get the bubble wrap off, and we can see this is Robert Mitchum and Jane Greer in Out of the Past, also known as Build My Gallows High. At least that's the title it was in Great Britain, because it was based on a book of that name by a guy called Geoffrey Holmes, which I have read. And I have to say, I wasn't very impressed with the book. It's been a few years since I've read it, but it didn't really grab me, not in the same way the film does. And in fact, if there is any weakness in the film, it is the story being rather convoluted. But there you go. It's still a great movie. Mitchum's brilliant in it, of course. There's not a lot of special features here, by the look of it. There's a commentary, and that's about it, I think. Oh well, the film's an important thing, isn't it? Yeah, it is a classic. Mitchum and Greer were so good together they was teamed in a movie called The Big Steal afterwards, which isn't as good because it's far more comedic, but it's still quite entertaining. Don Siegel directed that. And yeah, oh, there's some art cards and stuff in here, so let's get the package open. Here we go. Nice slipcase there. I didn't open Rear Window, did I? Not really remembering to open them up. That's very poor. Should we do that first? Let's have a quick look at Rear Window again. Let's get that back here. And there was nothing in it, so there you are. At least the disc is there, that's the important thing. Right. Oh, so you've got the usual download or stream code. And oh, we've got some sealed cards by the look of it. We'll get those open in a sec. And we've got, oh, I'm not sure, I think that's a poster. And also basically an advertisement for the HMV Premium Collection, which this is part of. So let's get a look at these other little bits here. This is a poster, is it? I think it must be. Yes, it is. Cool. Just carefully ease it open. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. So I do wonder sometimes the point of putting posters in here, because obviously you can't really take it out and frame it because it's got creases in it. I suppose you could have a go at flattening it out, I guess. Yeah. I do like film posters as wall decorations. I've actually got a few. You can't see them obviously from here because you're looking at my floor. But yeah, I have got a few. So let's have a look at these art cards. Oh, these are very well sealed. This could take a while because you have to be so careful because you don't want to damage anything, obviously. Well, that would have been an extremely boring 10 minutes, basically, of a video there, watching me trying to get this started to get it open. But I managed it eventually. So let's have a look at these art cards then. We've got one, obviously, of the film's poster, which is very good. Yeah, I do like the artwork on that one. You've got a wonderful drawing there of Mitchum looking impossibly cool, of course. And there we've got Mitchum and Jane Greer. Nice and thick and substantial. The Warner Brothers logo on the back. And there's another one. There. And there's Mitchum again in his hat and raincoat. Well, there's only 4, but they're still quite smart, I think. It's a nice little extra along with the movie, which is the important thing, of course. So we're getting towards the end now, ladies and gentlemen, aren't we? Because there's only one package left, and I have no idea what this one is, as I say. So let's just return Out of the Past to its slipcase. What a good movie. Well pleased with my haul so far. This is a book, I think. Oh, it might not be. It's not very heavy. Oh well. It's probably another film. Who knows? It's a Blu-ray. A bit of a lack of books this haul. That's a bit disappointing, but there you go. I've got some more coming. This is the Blu-ray of Force of Evil with John Garfield. Film directed by Abraham Polonsky. This is about the numbers racket, and Garfield is brilliant in it. I don't think it's his best movie, but it's certainly one of the best movies he did. Special edition contents here. What have we got? High definition Blu-ray, of course. The introduction by Martin Scorsese. Commentary by critics. 2 critics. Don't know if that's 2 commentaries or not. An autopsy on capitalism. A visual essay on the production and reception of Force of Evil by Frank Krupnik, author of In a Lonely Street, film noir genre masculinity. Don't know about that, but I haven't read that. Commentary on selected themes by him as well. 2 radio plays, obviously that are somehow relevant, not sure. Oh, it's about protesting the blacklist. And a radio version of Body and Soul, which I do think is probably Garfield's best movie. I wonder if he's in that radio version. Yes, he is. It mentions it. Okay, let's get it open. Have a look. What have we got? Oh, you've got the original artwork inside, I think. Yeah, they've got a reversible sleeve. That's something that Arrow... Oh, it is an Arrow. It is an Arrow edition. I should have known that. Of course, they've always got the reversible sleeves with the original artwork inside. I normally reverse them, actually, because I prefer the original artwork. It's kind of more authentic. And we've got this card, which I don't think is to do with this movie. It's an advert, basically. Okay. But yeah, I'll be reversing the sleeve to get the original cover there. I think that's more noir. I quite like the cover they've done, the new one. I think that's quite striking and different. I do prefer the old one. I think it's more, as I say, more authentic. And it's a very good movie, and I haven't seen it for many years. Like lots of these Noir Confidential films, it's going to be a delight. Part of the reason for doing it really was I wanted to watch all the films again, as well as share my opinions with everybody. But yeah, reading the books too is a particular joy for me, obviously. So looking forward to this. Is based on a novel, by the way, called Tucker's People by Ira Wolfert. I've not got a copy of that yet, but I've got my eye on it. It's possibly going to be arriving in the next few weeks if I purchase it. It's not tremendously cheap, but it's not extortionately expensive either, so it probably will end up on one of these unboxing hauls at some point, but we'll see. But that's it for today. That's all the ones that I've got. So we've got Force of Evil, Out of the Past, Rear Window, Daniel Fuchs's novel Low Company, Pick Up on South Street, Mildred Pierce, and Rita Hayworth in Gilda. So that's it. That's a pretty fearsome week's work. Looking forward to watching and reading all about these classic movies and featuring them on my Noir Confidential show. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and look out for some more unboxing ones I'll be doing in the future, and also for Noir Confidential, of course, which will be launching very, very shortly.